the architect of thought. Imagine a single mind whose ideas echoed through to millennia, shaping science, religion, ethics, and politics. A mind so profound, so foundational, that its influence can still be felt in the very fabric of how we think, how we categorize knowledge, how we understand human nature. This is not a mythical figure or a poetic exaggeration. This is the enduring legacy of a man born more than 2,300 years ago in the ancient Greek city of Stagira. A man known to history simply as Aristotle. His journey from a small coastal town to becoming one of the most influential intellectuals of all time is a story of curiosity, relentless observation, and a revolutionary approach to understanding the world around us. Aristotle's early life was marked by intellectual promise and a practical upbringing. Born in 384 BC, his father Nicomachus was the personal physician to King III of Macedon, the grandfather of Alexander the Great. This familial connection to the court and to medicine likely instilled in young Aristotle a deep appreciation for empirical observation and the natural sciences skills that would define much of his later work. At the age of 17, Aristotle embarked on what would become a pivotal chapter in his life. He journeyed to Athens, the intellectual heart of the ancient world, and enrolled in Plato's illustrious academy. For 2 decades, he immersed himself in philosophical inquiry, becoming Plato's most brilliant and at times most challenging student. The relationship between Plato and Aristotle was one of deep respect, but also significant intellectual divergence. Plato, a staunch idealist, believed that true reality resided in a realm of perfect forms, accessible only through reason and contemplation. He famously posited the allegory of the cave where humanity perceives only shadows of truth. Aristotle, however, possessed a fundamentally different temperament. He was an empiricist, a man who believed that knowledge began with the senses, with careful observation of the physical world. While he revered his teacher, the famous quote, often attributed to him, encapsulates this philosophical split. Plato is dear to me, but dearer still is truth. This commitment to empirical observation and logical analysis would become the hallmark of his unique approach to philosophy. Upon Plato's death around 347 BC, Aristotle did not inherit leadership of the academy. Instead, he embarked on a period of extensive travel and research. For several years, he resided in various cities in Asia Minor and on the island of Lesbos. These years were not spent in idleness, but in intense study, particularly in biology. He meticulously observed and classified hundreds of species of animals, making detailed anatomical observations and developing a sophisticated understanding of biological systems. This hands-on scientific work was unprecedented for its time, demonstrating his commitment to understanding the world through direct experience rather than purely abstract reasoning. His biological works are a testament to his methodical and systematic mind, laying groundwork for centuries of scientific inquiry. Perhaps one of the most intriguing chapters in Aristotle's life was his role as the tutor to Alexander the Great. Around 343 BC, King Philip II of Macedon invited Aristotle to Pella, the Macedonian capital, to educate his young son. For 3 years, Aristotle imparted knowledge, not just in philosophy but also in ethics, politics, rhetoric, and even the natural sciences. The exact nature of their relationship and the full extent of Aristotle's influence on Alexander are debated by historians. But it is clear that Aristotle provided a rigorous intellectual foundation for the future conqueror. It is even said that Alexander carried Aristotle's annotated copy of Homer's Iliad with him on his campaigns, a symbol of the profound impact the philosopher had on his most famous pupil. After Alexander ascended to the throne, Aristotle returned to Athens around 335 BC. It was here that he established his own school, a rival to Plato's academy. This institution became known as the Lyceum. Unlike the academy, which focused heavily on mathematics and abstract forms, the Lyceum emphasized a broader curriculum including natural sciences, history, politics, and rhetoric. Aristotle famously taught while strolling through the Lyceum's shaded walkways, giving his followers the nickname peripatetics, or those who walk around. This walking and talking approach fostered a dynamic environment of inquiry and discussion, attracting students from across the Greek world. It was within the walls of the Lyceum that Aristotle produced the bulk of his monumental works that would profoundly shape Western thought for centuries. His contributions were incredibly diverse, encompassing virtually every field of knowledge. In logic, his collection of works known as the Organon systematized the study of reasoning. He developed the theory of the syllogism, a form of deductive reasoning that remained the dominant model for logic for over 2 millennia. This was not just abstract theory, it provided a rigorous framework for clear thinking and argument. In metaphysics, he explored the fundamental nature of reality, asking questions about existence, being, and causation. He introduced concepts like substance, potentiality, and actuality, and famously articulated the four causes: material, formal, efficient, and final, offering a comprehensive framework for understanding why things are the way they are. His physics, though eventually superseded by modern science, provided the dominant view of the cosmos for over 1,000 years. He attempted to explain motion, change, and the elements understanding the world through a systematic framework. Perhaps most enduring for everyday life are his contributions to ethics. In his Nicomachean Ethics, named after his son, he argued that the ultimate goal of human existence is eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or human well-being. He emphasized the importance of developing virtuous character traits through habituation. His famous concept of the golden mean suggested that virtue lies in finding a balance between two extremes. For example, courage is the mean between cowardice and recklessness. This practical approach to morality focused on character development rather than strict rules, providing a timeless guide for personal conduct. In politics, Aristotle saw humans as zoon politikon, a political animal, meaning that living in a community is essential to human nature and flourishing. He analyzed various forms of government, monarchy, aristocracy, and polity, examining their strengths and weaknesses and seeking the ideal constitution that promotes the common good. His extensive study of different political systems laid the groundwork for political science as a distinct field. His Poetics similarly delved into the nature of art, particularly tragedy, analyzing its elements, like plot, character, and catharsis, providing a profound insight into the human experience of art. Aristotle's life, however, did not end peacefully in Athens. Upon the death of his former pupil Alexander the Great in 323 BCA, strong anti-Macedonian sentiment swept through Athens. Aristotle, who had close ties to the Macedonian court, found himself in a precarious position, accused of remembering the fate of Socrates, who was condemned to death in similar circumstances. Aristotle famously declared, "I will not allow the Athenians to sin twice against philosophy." He fled Athens, seeking refuge in Chalcis on the island of Euboea, where he died a year later, BC, at the age of 62. Despite his departure from Athens, Aristotle's influence was far from over. His writings were meticulously preserved and eventually became the bedrock of medieval Islamic and European thought. Scholars like Avicenna and Averroes in the Islamic world, and Thomas Aquinas in the Christian world, engaged deeply with Aristotle's ideas, integrating them into their theological and philosophical systems. He was revered as the philosopher, a title that signified his unparalleled authority. His logical framework shaped scholasticism, his ethical theories influenced moral philosophy, and his scientific observations laid the groundwork for future inquiry. Even today, his ideas resonate. Concepts like the golden mean, eudaimonia, and the idea of humans as political animals remain central to contemporary discussions in ethics, politics, and psychology. His emphasis on empirical observation laid the groundwork for the scientific method. His legacy is a testament to the power of systematic thought, to the enduring human quest for understanding, and to the profound impact one individual can have on the trajectory of civilization. So return with us to that initial question. Imagine a single mind whose ideas echoed through the millennia, shaping science, religion, ethics, and politics. This is not a mythical figure or a poetic exaggeration. This is the enduring legacy of Aristotle, the architect of thought, whose intellectual blueprint continues to guide us in understanding the complex tapestry of existence. If you found this journey through Aristotle's life and ideas inspiring, please like this video, subscribe to TheAncientPhilosophers for more timeless wisdom, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What ancient philosopher should we explore next?